Hey, amazing listeners. Welcome to Mind-Blowing Motive, the channel where we share powerful life lessons and guide you to live your own dreams with courage and purpose. Everywhere we look, people are running. Running after jobs, running after money, running after titles, and sometimes even running after lifestyles that don't belong to them. In the middle of this endless race, it's easy to forget one simple truth. Your life is your own, and your dreams are unique. Too often, we fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others. We look at what our friends are doing, what society praises, or what our families expect, and we start chasing paths that don't reflect our true passion or purpose. The result? Emptiness, frustration, and a constant feeling that something is missing. The reality is this: no one can live your life for you. Chasing someone else's dream might bring temporary satisfaction, but it will never give you the deep joy and fulfillment that comes from following your own path. Success isn't about copying others. It's about discovering what sets your soul on fire and having the courage to pursue it, no matter how different it may look from the crowd. This journey requires clarity, courage, and confidence. And in this guide, we'll walk through 10 powerful steps that will help you break free from chasing other people's dreams and instead focus on building the life you were truly meant to live. Step 1. Discover what truly matters to you. The first step in breaking free from chasing others' dreams is discovering what truly matters to you. This might sound simple, but in reality, it's one of the hardest things to figure out. Why? Because from the time we're young, we are surrounded by voices that tell us what success should look like. Parents may say, become a doctor or engineer because that's secure. Society praises people with big houses, luxury cars, or glamorous lifestyles. Social media constantly shows us filtered versions of people's achievements, making us feel like that's the standard we must follow. In this noisy world, your own voice can get buried deep inside. But if you want to live a life that feels meaningful, you must dig it out and listen. Ask yourself, what activities make me lose track of time? What goals excite me even when no one is watching? What dreams would I still chase if money, fame, or approval didn't matter? These questions are like a mirror. They help you reflect on what's real for you, not what others expect. Think about this. Imagine someone who always dreamed of painting, but instead chose accounting because it seemed safe. They may make a living, but deep down they'll feel an emptiness, a longing that never goes away. On the other hand, imagine a person who follows their passion for teaching children. They may not drive the fanciest car, but every morning they wake up with purpose. That difference, the spark in their eyes, the satisfaction in their soul, comes from living their own dream. Discovering what matters to you isn't a one-day job. It's a process. Sometimes it requires journaling your thoughts, writing down what excites you and what drains you. Sometimes it requires trying new experiences, stepping out of your comfort zone, and seeing what resonates. And sometimes it means sitting quietly with yourself, away from all distractions, and simply listening to your heart. But here's something important. You don't need anyone else's permission to value your own dream. Your life is not a performance for others. If something genuinely matters to you, it deserves your time, energy, and dedication. Don't let fear or comparison stop you. Remember, The world's greatest inventions, art, and progress came from people who dared to follow what mattered to them, even when others didn't understand. So, step 1 is all about clarity. Take time to discover what you truly care about. Write it down. Say it out loud. Own it. Because the moment you stop living for others' approval and start focusing on what lights up your own soul, you've already taken the first powerful step towards freedom. Step 2. Stop comparing yourself to others. If there's one trap that keeps people chasing others' dreams, it's comparison. We live in a world where it's almost impossible not to compare. Scroll through social media, and you'll see people your age buying houses, traveling the world, or achieving milestones that you might not have reached yet. You might look at them and think, maybe I should be doing that too. That's how comparison sneaks into your mind and convinces you that their path should also be your path. But here's the truth. Comparison is the thief of joy. The moment you measure your life against someone else's, you lose sight of your own journey. You forget that every person is walking a unique path with different opportunities, struggles, and timing. It's like running a marathon, but constantly staring at the runner in the next lane. You'll trip, stumble, and eventually lose your pace. Think about it. A musician comparing themselves to a doctor makes no sense. Their talents, passions, and contributions are completely different. Yet, many of us do this daily, comparing our behind-the-scenes struggles to someone else's highlight reel. Social media only makes this worse because people rarely show the failures, the tears, or the sacrifices. They show the polished results. And if you're not careful, you'll start believing those results should be your goals too. So, how do you break free? The answer lies in shifting your focus inward. Instead of asking, what do they have that I don't? Ask yourself, what do I have that makes me unique? Instead of wishing for someone else's success, start celebrating your own small victories. Maybe you're not a millionaire, but perhaps you've built a loving family, improved your health, or learned a new skill. These wins matter, and they deserve recognition. Another powerful way to stop comparing is to limit your exposure to triggers. If scrolling social media leaves you feeling inadequate, take a break. Unfollow accounts that make you doubt yourself, and start following those that inspire growth, positivity, and authenticity. Surround yourself with people who encourage your individuality instead of pushing you into a competition. Also, remember that timing is different for everyone. Just because someone achieved something at 25 doesn't mean you're late if you achieve it at 40, or even if you never choose that path at all. Some people blossom early, some blossom later, and some bloom in completely unexpected ways. Your life doesn't need to match anyone else's timeline. Here's an example. Oprah Winfrey didn't get her first big break until her 30s. Colonel Sanders started KFC in his 60s. Imagine if they had compared themselves to others and thought, I'm too late, so why bother? The world would have missed out on their unique gifts. The moment you stop comparing, you free yourself from invisible chains. You stop feeling behind, and you start focusing on becoming the best version of yourself. Comparison keeps you chasing someone else's dream, but self-awareness helps you create your own. So step 2 is about making a conscious choice every day. Choose to celebrate your progress instead of measuring it against others. Choose to walk your own path without being distracted by what's happening in someone else's lane. When you stop comparing, You don't just stop chasing others' dreams. You start honoring your own journey. And that, my friend, is where true happiness begins. Step 3. Listen to your inner voice. One of the biggest reasons people end up chasing others' dreams is that they stop listening to themselves. Deep down, every person has an inner voice that whispers what feels right and what doesn't. But with the constant noise of society, family expectations, and social media pressure, that voice often gets drowned out. Instead of tuning in, we tune out and follow the crowd. Over time, we lose touch with who we really are. Listening to your inner voice doesn't mean ignoring advice or refusing to learn from others. It means creating space to hear what your heart is telling you. That quiet feeling inside is like a compass. It guides you toward the life you're meant to live. Sometimes it speaks through excitement, like when you feel alive working on a project or exploring an idea. Other times it speaks through discomfort, warning you that the path you're on doesn't align with your values. But the challenge is that most of us don't slow down enough to notice it. We fill our days with endless distractions, scrolling through feeds, rushing from task to task, constantly seeking validation. In the noise, that inner guidance becomes faint. To reconnect with it, you need moments of stillness. It might be journaling your thoughts each morning, taking a quiet walk without headphones, or practicing mindfulness. In those moments, you start to hear yourself again. Think about the times in your life when you felt torn between what others wanted for you and what you wanted for yourself. Maybe your parents wanted you to pursue a stable career, but your heart leaned toward something creative. Maybe your friends celebrated flashy achievements, but you valued simplicity and peace. Those moments of conflict reveal the gap between outside voices and your own. By listening carefully, you begin to bridge that gap. The inner voice is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's a gentle nudge. For example, you might feel a strange excitement when you read about photography, or a deep sense of peace when you're helping others. These feelings are signals. They tell you, this is where you belong. Pay attention. Ignoring them may lead to years of regret, but following them can open doors you never imagined. It's also important to recognize that your inner voice might not match society's definition of success. And that's perfectly fine. If your inner voice tells you that happiness is raising a family in a small town, don't silence it just because others are chasing city careers. If it tells you to start a business, don't ignore it just because others think it's risky. The point is to honor your truth, not theirs. Of course, fear often tries to silence that voice. Thoughts like, what if I fail? What if others laugh? What if it doesn't work out? Start to creep in. But fear is not your inner voice. It's the noise of doubt. The more you practice separating the two, the more confident you'll become in following your instincts. Listening to your inner voice takes courage, because it may lead you down a road less traveled. You may have to stand against opinions, face criticism, or walk alone for a while. But in the long run, it's better to be alone on your true path than surrounded by people while living a lie. Step 4. Define success on your own terms. One of the most common reasons people chase others' dreams is because they accept society's definition of success without ever questioning it. From a young age, we're taught that success means having a certain job, making a certain amount of money, or living a particular lifestyle. For some, success is measured in big houses, luxury cars, and expensive vacations. For others, it's degrees, titles, or social recognition. These images get planted in our minds so strongly that we often chase them blindly, even if they don't truly make us happy. But here's something powerful to realize. Success has no universal definition. It looks different for every person, and that's exactly how it should be. For one person, success might be running a business empire. For another, it might be living peacefully in nature with minimal possessions. For someone, it could be traveling the world, while for someone else, it could be raising children with love and patience. None of these definitions are more right than the other. They're simply personal. Defining success on your own terms requires honesty. You need to ask yourself, what does success mean to me personally? What kind of life would make me feel fulfilled, even if nobody else approved? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary if you want to stop chasing a version of success that belongs to someone else. Take a moment and imagine yourself at the end of your life. Look back and ask, what would make me proud? What would make me feel I lived fully? For some, the answer might be creating something meaningful like writing a book, building a community, or making art. For others, it might be as simple as knowing they lived with kindness, integrity, and peace. Whatever that vision is, that is your definition of success, and it deserves to guide your choices. Real-life examples show how differently success can be defined. Think of someone like Elon Musk, who sees success as pushing human progress forward through technology and exploration. Then think of someone like Mother Teresa, who defined success as serving the poorest and most vulnerable with love. Their lives look completely different, yet both were deeply aligned with their personal values. Neither copied the other, and that's why both made such a lasting impact. One practical way to define your version of success is to write a success statement. It can be a few simple lines that describe the life you want to live. For example, success for me is waking up every day excited about my work, having time for my family, and feeling at peace with myself. Once you write it down, use it as a compass. Whenever you face a choice, career, relationship, lifestyle, ask, does this move me closer to my definition of success? Or am I drifting into someone else's dream? Of course, the tricky part is that your definition of success may not match what others expect. That's where courage comes in. People might question your choices or even criticize you. But remember, they don't get to define success for you. Living by their definition may win you approval, but it will cost you authenticity. And authenticity is far more valuable in the long run. Another important reminder is that your definition of success can evolve. What matters to you at 20 might not be the same at 40 or 60. That's natural. Life changes, you grow, and your vision of fulfillment grows too. The key is to keep checking in with yourself, so you never lose sight of your true path. Step 5. Recognize the power of your strengths. A major reason many people chase others' dreams is because they don't see the value of their own strengths. They look at what someone else is good at and think, if only I had that talent, I'd be successful too. But here's the truth. Every person has unique strengths, and those strengths are the building blocks of their real dream. Ignoring them to copy someone else's path is like owning a diamond, but throwing it away because you're too busy admiring someone else's gold. Your strengths are not just about skills or talents. They're also about the qualities that come naturally to you. Some people are natural leaders, while others shine as problem solvers. Some are deeply empathetic, able to connect with people on an emotional level. Others have a sharp eye for detail, or an endless stream of creativity. These strengths are clues about where your energy and passion belong. The problem is that society often glorifies certain strengths, while ignoring others. For example, careers in medicine, law, or technology are often praised as worthy, while artistic or nurturing paths are dismissed as less important. Because of this, many people abandon their true abilities and try to fit into molds that don't suit them. Over time, they feel drained, unmotivated, and out of place. Not because they're incapable, but because they're trying to excel in someone else's area instead of their own. Think of it this way. If a fish is judged by how well it can climb a tree, it will spend its whole life believing it's a failure. But in water, the fish is unstoppable. The same goes for you. When you recognize your strengths and operate within them, you feel energized, confident, and alive. When you ignore them, you constantly feel like you're not enough. One practical exercise to uncover your strength is to pay attention to what feels effortless to you but difficult for others. Maybe you can explain complex ideas in a simple way while others struggle. Maybe you're the person people come to when they need encouragement. Or maybe you can stay calm under pressure while everyone else panics. These are not accidents. They are signals pointing toward your natural abilities. Another way is to look back at your life and recall moments when you felt proud or successful. What were you doing? Were you writing, speaking, building, teaching, organizing, or creating? Patterns will start to appear, and those patterns reveal your strengths. You can also ask people you trust, "What do you think I'm naturally good at?" Sometimes others see what we overlook in ourselves. Recognizing your strengths doesn't mean you should ignore your weaknesses, but it does mean you should stop building your life around them. Chasing others' dreams often forces you to compete in areas that don't align with your abilities, which makes the journey exhausting. Instead, focus on sharpening your strengths and building a path that allows them to shine. Consider examples from the real world. Steve Jobs wasn't the best engineer at Apple, but his strength was vision, seeing possibilities and bringing teams together to create. Serena Williams may not be a musician, but on the tennis court, her natural athletic ability and competitive spirit made her one of the greatest of all time. They didn't waste energy chasing someone else's talent. They invested deeply in their own. When you shift your attention to your strengths, something powerful happens. You stop feeling like you're constantly behind or inadequate. You begin to see the value you bring to the table. And as you nurture those strengths, opportunities begin to align with you. Opportunities that match your natural gifts and open the door to your own dreams. Step 6. Set boundaries against external pressure. One of the toughest challenges in living your own dream is dealing with external pressure. Family, friends, society, and even strangers often have strong opinions about what you should or shouldn't do. They may say things like, "You'll never make money doing that," or "Why don't you choose something more practical?" Sometimes these voices come from love and concern, but other times they come from fear, jealousy, or a narrow vision of what life should look like. If you're not careful, these voices can drown out your own and push you to chase dreams that don't belong to you. Setting boundaries doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you learn how to protect your energy and stay aligned with your values, even when others disagree. Imagine trying to plant a delicate flower in a storm. If you don't create shelter around it, the wind and rain will destroy it. Your dreams are like that flower. They need boundaries to protect them from outside forces until they grow strong enough to stand tall. The first step in setting boundaries is to identify where the pressure comes from. Is it family expecting you to follow a certain career path? Is it peers making you feel like you're falling behind because you don't have what they have? Is it cultural or social standards defining success for you? Once you recognize these influences, you can start deciding which ones to accept and which ones to block out. Boundaries can take many forms. Sometimes it means saying no to certain conversations. For example, if a relative constantly criticizes your choices, you might say, "I appreciate your concern, but I'd prefer not to discuss this topic anymore." Other times, boundaries mean limiting exposure. If scrolling social media makes you feel pressured to live someone else's life, reduce your screen time or unfollow accounts that trigger those feelings. Another powerful boundary is choosing carefully who you share your dreams with. Not everyone deserves access to your vision. Some people will support you, but others might discourage you simply because they can't see what you see. Share your goals with people who uplift and encourage you, not with those who make you doubt yourself. It's also important to set boundaries with yourself. Sometimes, the loudest pressure doesn't come from outside, but from the inner critic inside your head. That voice says, "You should do this to make your parents proud," or "You'll never fit in if you don't follow the same path as others." Creating a boundary with that voice means reminding yourself, "I don't have to earn approval by living someone else's life. I am allowed to choose my own path." Remember, boundaries are not walls. They don't block out love or connection. Instead, they filter out the noise so you can focus on what truly matters. Think of them as guardrails on a mountain road. Without guardrails, you'd be in constant danger of slipping off track. With them, you can drive safely toward your destination without fear. Real-life examples show how boundaries protect dreams. Many successful artists, entrepreneurs, and leaders faced resistance from people around them. J.K. Rowling was told repeatedly that writing wasn't practical. Steve Jobs was even fired from the company he co-founded. But both had the inner strength and boundaries to continue following their vision despite the pressure. If they had given in, the world would have lost something extraordinary. By practicing boundaries, you give yourself the freedom to choose your own way. You create space where your ideas can breathe and your dreams can grow. Without that space, it's easy to get pulled back into chasing others' expectations, even when your heart is calling you elsewhere. Step 7. Embrace patience and your own pace. One of the hidden reasons people start chasing others' dreams is impatience. They see someone else reaching milestones faster and begin to doubt their own timing. In a world that constantly pushes speed, instant results, overnight success, quick wins, it's easy to believe that if you're not there yet, you're falling behind. This mindset can trick you into abandoning your true path just to catch up with someone else's timeline. But here's the truth. Growth takes time. Every dream has its own pace, just like seeds planted in the ground. Some seeds sprout within weeks, while others take months before you see any sign of life. The fact that you don't see results immediately doesn't mean nothing is happening. It simply means your roots are growing underground, preparing to hold something strong and lasting. Think about bamboo. For years, bamboo hardly shows any growth above the surface. But during that time, it's developing an extensive root system underground. Then, almost suddenly, it can grow several feet in a single season. Your journey may feel slow, but that doesn't mean it isn't powerful. You may be in the root-growing stage, building skills, resilience, and clarity that will later allow your dream to grow quickly and strongly. Patience also protects you from comparison. When you accept your own pace, you stop worrying about who's ahead or behind. You start to see that everyone's path is unique. Some people peak early, while others take longer to find their calling. Neither is better, it's just different. The key is to trust your timeline instead of forcing yourself into someone else's. Practical patience means setting long-term goals but giving yourself grace along the way. Instead of expecting everything overnight, break your dream into smaller steps and celebrate progress as it comes. Maybe your business doesn't explode in the first year, but you learned how to manage clients. Maybe your book doesn't sell thousands of copies immediately, but finishing it was a victory in itself. Each step matters, and each step moves you closer. Another way to practice patience is to shift focus from outcome to process. When you chase someone else's dream, you often focus only on the end result, the money, the recognition, the status. But when you follow your own dream, you find joy in the process itself. Even the challenges become meaningful because they're part of your unique journey. Consider this. Vincent van Gogh, one of the greatest painters in history, sold almost none of his work during his lifetime. If he had measured his success by society's timeline, he might have quit. But he kept painting because the process mattered to him. His art later changed the world, but he never stopped creating just because recognition was slow. Patience is not passive. It doesn't mean sitting back and waiting for things to happen. It means actively working toward your dream, while trusting that results will come in the right time. It's about staying consistent, even when progress feels invisible. It's about believing in the seed you've planted, even when no one else sees it growing. Impatience, on the other hand, is what often pushes people into chasing shortcuts, trends, or paths that belong to others. They think, if it worked quickly for them, maybe I should do the same. But shortcuts rarely bring fulfillment. They might give quick results, but they don't build the foundation for lasting success. When you embrace patience, you give yourself permission to unfold at your natural rhythm. You stop forcing yourself into molds and start respecting your own journey. And in that respect, you find peace. Peace that allows you to keep going without comparing, without rushing, without losing yourself in someone else's story. Step 8. Accept that failure is part of your journey. Another reason people get trapped chasing others' dreams is fear of failure. They look at a path already proven by someone else and think, if I follow their steps, maybe I'll be safe. It feels less risky to copy what worked for them instead of carving out something original. But here's the reality. Failure is not a sign you're on the wrong path. It's proof that you're actually trying to live your own. Every dream worth pursuing comes with setbacks. The difference between chasing your dream and chasing someone else's is how those failures feel. When you fail on your own path, it stings, but it teaches you. You learn lessons that strengthen your vision. You grow resilience, creativity, and problem-solving skills. But when you fail chasing someone else's dream, it feels empty, You don't just lose time, you lose yourself. Because deep down, you knew it wasn't your calling. The key is to shift how you see failure. Instead of viewing it as the end, start seeing it as feedback. Each failure gives information about what doesn't work, guiding you closer to what does. Thomas Edison famously said he didn't fail 1,000 times when inventing the light bulb. He discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work. Without those so-called failures, he would never have reached success. Think about children learning to walk. They stumble again and again, but no one calls them failures. Each fall is simply practice, part of the process of building balance and strength. In the same way, your failures are not evidence that you should quit. They're evidence that you're learning how to stand tall in your own journey. Fear of failure often comes from outside pressure. Society celebrates success stories, but hides the messy middle. You see the polished outcome, but not the countless mistakes behind it. This creates the illusion that successful people never failed, when in fact, failure was their greatest teacher. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. These failures didn't end their stories. They became the stepping stones to extraordinary lives. When you accept failure as part of your journey, you also release yourself from perfectionism. You stop waiting for the perfect plan before taking action. You realize that clarity comes through doing, not through endless planning. Action brings mistakes, but mistakes bring wisdom. That wisdom shapes the path that belongs only to you. One practical way to reframe failure is to keep a lesson log. Every time something doesn't go as planned, write down what you learned. Did you discover a skill you need to improve? Did you find a better way to approach the problem? Did you realize something that doesn't fit your vision? Over time, this log becomes proof that failure isn't a setback but progress in disguise. It's also important to separate your identity from your failures. Just because an idea failed doesn't mean you are a failure. Failure is an event, not a definition. The moment you internalize this, you stop fearing it so much. You start taking bolder steps because you know failure won't destroy you. It will refine you. Following your own dream means accepting that you'll stumble, but those stumbles are part of the adventure. They make your story richer and your success more meaningful. Instead of chasing a safe, borrowed dream where failure seems less likely, dare to chase the one that scares you. Because in that fear lies growth, and in that growth lies freedom. Step 9. Build the courage to take risks. One of the biggest reasons people end up chasing others' dreams is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of stepping out of the comfort zone. It's easy to follow someone else's path because it feels safer. You see someone else succeed and think, if I do what they did, maybe I'll succeed too. But the truth is, nothing worth having comes without risk. Your own dreams demand courage, the kind that pushes you forward even when the outcome is uncertain. Taking risks doesn't mean being reckless. It means making deliberate choices that align with your values and goals, even when you can't guarantee the results. Every step outside your comfort zone is a test of your commitment to your own life, your own purpose. It's also a chance to discover what you are capable of. Think about the greatest inventors, artists, and leaders. They all risked failure, criticism, and even ridicule. They didn't copy someone else's path. They created their own, and that took courage. Fear is natural, It never fully disappears, but courage is acting despite that fear. The moment you start taking small, consistent risks, your confidence grows. Maybe you speak up about your ideas when you'd normally stay quiet. Maybe you invest time into a project that feels uncertain. Maybe you walk away from a path that others expect you to follow, even if it's scary. Each risk, no matter the size, strengthens your belief in yourself. Consider this. If you only ever play it safe, you may never discover your full potential. The opportunities that align with your dreams often come disguised as challenges or uncomfortable choices. You might feel insecure or unprepared, but that's part of the process. Risk is the bridge between who you are today and who you could become tomorrow. Practical courage starts with mindset. Stop asking, "What if I fail?" Instead, ask, "What can I learn from this?" Shift your focus from fear of failure to curiosity and growth. When you see risks as opportunities to gain experience and insight, they no longer feel paralyzing. They feel exciting. Another key point is preparation. Courage doesn't mean blindly jumping into the unknown. It means taking calculated steps. Learn, practice, and plan where you can. But don't wait for a perfect plan, because perfection is a trap that keeps you stuck. Acting imperfectly is better than never acting at all. Real-life examples show the power of risk. J.K. Rowling was rejected by multiple publishers before Harry Potter became a global success. Steve Jobs took the bold step of starting Apple in a garage. Oprah faced criticism early in her career, but kept trusting her instincts. In each case, the courage to take risks led them to lives and legacies that no imitation could ever have achieved. Risk also teaches resilience. Every setback along the way is a lesson in strength, patience, and creativity. When you face challenges head-on, you build an inner armor that prepares you for bigger opportunities. Those who follow someone else's dream rarely develop this resilience, because they are constantly dependent on someone else's rules, timing, and expectations. Ultimately, building courage is about trusting yourself. It's about believing that no matter what happens, you can handle it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. The more you act on your own instincts and take risks that align with your passions, the more you step into the life that is truly yours. Your dream is waiting, but it requires you to be brave. Comfort will never create it. Fear will never build it. Only courage, persistence, and a willingness to take bold steps toward your unique path can make it real. Step 10. Take full responsibility for your life. One of the most powerful steps to stop chasing others' dreams is to take full responsibility for your own life. It's easy to blame circumstances, family expectations, or society when things don't go the way you hoped. People often say, "I would follow my dream, but my parents want me to do something else," or "I don't have the resources like they do, so I can't pursue my passion." While these factors exist, the key difference between those who live their own dreams and those who don't is ownership. Taking responsibility means acknowledging that your life, your choices, and your results are yours and yours alone. When you fully accept responsibility, you stop giving your power away. You stop letting other people's opinions dictate your decisions. You start seeing that excuses only delay action, and action is the only way to make your dreams real. Life doesn't wait for permission, and neither should you. Every choice you make, big or small, contributes to the path you're creating for yourself. Taking responsibility also means looking honestly at your past decisions. Maybe you've made mistakes or followed paths that weren't yours. Instead of dwelling on regret or blaming others, view those experiences as lessons. Every misstep teaches you something valuable about what aligns with your values and what doesn't. When you embrace this mindset, you transform failures into tools that guide your future choices. Another aspect of responsibility is self-discipline. Chasing your own dreams requires consistent effort, even when motivation fades. It's easy to say, "I'll start tomorrow," or "I'm too tired today." But living a life true to yourself means showing up every day, even when it's hard. It's committing to small, consistent actions that build momentum over time. Those actions compound and eventually create the life that's authentically yours. Responsibility also means making decisions with courage. Sometimes the choice that aligns with your dream is unpopular or misunderstood by others. Taking full ownership means acting on those choices anyway. You may face criticism or doubt, but that is part of the journey. People who live their own dreams don't wait for approval. They trust themselves and their path. Consider examples from real life. Oprah Winfrey didn't let poverty, criticism, or rejection define her. She took responsibility for her life, made bold choices, and built a legacy that inspired millions. Elon Musk faced countless obstacles and skepticism, but never let fear of failure or external doubt stop him from pursuing his vision. These examples show that taking responsibility is the ultimate form of freedom. It frees you from comparison, excuses, and limitations. Taking responsibility also strengthens your resilience. When you own your life completely, you stop feeling like a victim of circumstances. Challenges become opportunities to grow rather than barriers. You learn to solve problems, adapt to changes, and create solutions that move you closer to your dreams. Finally, full responsibility is the key to empowerment. Once you realize that no one else controls your destiny, you unlock the courage to live according to your values, pursue your passions, and design the life you truly want. It's a shift in mindset, from reacting to life to actively shaping it. Every decision you make is a brick in the foundation of your own dream. By embracing responsibility, you step fully into your own power. You stop chasing what others expect and start creating what your heart desires. The journey isn't always easy, but it's yours entirely, and that is where real freedom begins. Remember, your life is yours and yours alone. Stop chasing what others expect, stop comparing, and stop living by someone else's rules. Your dreams matter, and only you can give them the attention, courage, and action they deserve. Start listening to your inner voice, trust your strengths, take risks, and define success on your own terms. Every small step you take toward your true path brings you closer to a life of fulfillment and freedom. If this video inspired you to take charge of your life, make sure to subscribe to Mind Blowing Motive for more motivational content. Hit the like button, share it with someone who needs a reminder to follow their own dreams, and comment below about the first step you'll take today. Remember, your journey is yours to create, and every choice counts. Keep dreaming, keep acting, and keep shining.